All right. Well, let's start with the more somber news with SAD's injury.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know the kind of player that she is on the court, but from a personal standpoint, just what was your reaction to hearing her injury?
Yeah, obviously, it's really difficult just because of who SA is and what she's doing this year for the team. And I'm not even talking production, like basketball wise, just in terms of the character and the person. Um, and it's extra hard. That's actually the first like tough injury I've dealt with as a coach, and it's really in a game, and it's like just the emotions of. I was really happy with how the team responded to that. It's such a tough situation, right? I said in the press conference after the SA is like the heart and soul of this team, and I think you see that just in terms of the grit, resilience, and just how hard she plays every single night. So, that said, I couldn't be more encouraged and positive with how she's responded to this. I mean, it's just her mental fortitude is incredible. I mean, just last few days, like she's been really intentional to get out and actually enjoy the break a little bit, get out with her teammates, and she started already the rehab in the weight room with Dan on the second day, to reduce the swelling and make sure she's in a good place for the op. So, obviously really tough news for us as a group, but I have no doubts at all that SA is going to come back from this even stronger. And, we joked because we were talking all the time about the off season. And from the first week, SA was saying how much she was going to enjoy the off season here and getting all the CLA work in and just work with our coaches. And, we are going to have an epic off season now, and she's going to bounce back stronger than ever. It's the same with Sanaa. I think, obviously Sanaa came from LA, and I think it's almost a good thing that they're at least going through this journey together at the same time. And I have so much faith in our performance team that we're going to be able to get them back performing at a really high level. So long answer, but Sanaa and SA, I have so much faith in them. I really believe in them, and their well-being is really important to us as a team. So I wanted to make sure I gave this the attention it deserves.
Yeah, I'm good with long answers. That's kind of
Do
appreciate.
you know when she's gonna have the surgery?
Very soon. We're kind of just working through those details right now. I think, we want to make sure it's just done, it's done at the right time. And, our performance team kind of look at all the research behind ACLs, and it's more, you get the swelling down, and then as soon as that's looking at a good place, then she's going to get the op. So I think imminently, Sean, and we'll announce it once she has the op.
And as far as obviously she's so important to like what you guys are doing
Yeah.
on the court too, in addition to like the personality and stuff. But like, how are you guys going to be able to mitigate that and not replace her, but like make up for what she brings on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's kind of the whole approach has obviously been development first with everything we've done this year. And that's kind of how I view this now, where it's a great opportunity for other players on the roster to step up. And I don't necessarily view this as a straight swap SA's minutes for someone else. I think it's a lot more complex than that. So the way I view this is more like 2 or 3 players getting, more minutes, more opportunities versus, SA's minutes just being reallocated.
Do you have any sense of who those 2 or 3 players might be?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nards and Carly are the obvious candidates to start with, but I think want to get a look at Holly now. She's played well in some limited stretches. It's just, it's been impossible to play her because we got a 10-player rotation. So, Holly will get more of a chance now. And I think the hardest thing for us really is going to be, it's how we can really get our defense to where it needs to be, Sean. I think, we're really in such a good place just before SA's injury. Like, even the losses we had were really close against very good teams. I felt like we had so much momentum. So now the challenge is, how can we sustain that? And I think the hardest thing is going to be how we can make sure we're not skipping a beat defensively, because, we saw everything SA was doing and growing offensively with the role. But I think what's not always evident is just how elite she is as a defender. On, off the ball, we're putting her on the hardest assignments, and that's going to be the hardest thing to replace.
Kind of just piggybacking off of that, the Aces is one of those teams that you kept it close to the last time that you played them. I think you said after that one that it was just a couple of little things here and there towards the end of the game that ended up with you on the losing side. How do you fix those little things that did affect the end of the game too? Hopefully you might on that.
Yeah, good question. So I think last time with Vegas, they were really deliberate to basically make sure our pick and roll handlers weren't getting downhill into the paint. So we saw like in their drop coverage, Melissa Smith did a really good job kind of shading and biasing towards the handler. So really it kind of only opened up the early pocket. But even then, we couldn't always get it because they were really helping and trying to take away that early pocket with the closest defender. So I think we just have to be more deliberate with the spacings we're getting to, and then our cover solutions. If we know that something's being taken away, how can we respond to that? And I think that was more of an important theme for Vegas on the offensive end. I felt like defensively, it was a lot of like off-ball screening actions we were just late to getting stuck in. And then, how we defend these Asia post-ups this time around is going to be important. It's not like traditional post. It's creative, like rip screens, cross screens to get touches. And we gave up like at least 6 points where we just had our fives just got caught in the rip. We didn't communicate it early. We didn't get through. We didn't pick a good route. And our guards didn't support. So I think tidying up those areas can save us an easy kind of 6 to 10 points.